At the end of this video, we will be able to answer the question definitively, which continent would win if the best 11 from every continent played. But honestly, we probably didn't even need to make this video because we all already know the answer. It's Oceania. In Oceania, we enter a best 11 sweepstakes called Is There Anyone Not from New Zealand? And we're starting things off hot at goalkeeper with Ollie Sale from New Zealand, unfortunately. I mean, good for him, but like, we're kind of losing at the sweepstakes here. He has a current ability of 102 out of 200 on Football Manager, the best goalkeeper on the continent, and he plays for Perth Glory. That's in Australia for you noobs. At center back, we have Bill Tuiloma from New Zealand. He plays at Charlotte FC, and Winston Reid, who's a free agent in the Football Manager database. He's still one of the best two center backs from here. He's obviously from New Zealand. At right back, we have Michael Boxall from New Zealand. And at left back, we have New Zealand wonder kid Liberato Kakase. It is not looking good if you bet the one player not from New Zealand in this best 11 parlay. But there's still a chance in the midfield. That's where we find Joe Bell, who plays at Viking and is from New Zealand. I actually went to college with him. Funny story, him and I used to hang out. The center midfielder is Marko Stamenic, who plays at Red Star and is from New Zealand. The more attacking midfielder, Ryan Thomas. He's also from New Zealand. All three of those players had a current ability rating of 115 to 118 given to them by Football Manager, which gives everybody in the world a rating from 1 to 200, and they scout almost 500,000 players. So if you get mad at these best 11s, it's not my fault. I'll link their email down in the description. You can go after them. It's not... We're just having fun. Now, the last chance on our Anywhere But From New Zealand sweepstakes is the front three. We'll start it on left wing, where we run into Callum McCallett, who's from New Zealand. Then on the right wing, best right winger in the continent, Sarpreet Singh, from New Zealand. And of course, the striker and the best player from Oceania is Chris Wood from New Zealand. There are 0 players in the entire Oceania best 11 from anywhere other than New Zealand. They are the best 11, which means if they ever fail to win every Oceania thing ever, we get to clown them forever. And I will change my name in protest. Although it is kind of suspicious that a guy named Zealand would put an all New Zealand team up for Oceania. Keep your eyes peeled, sheeple. Keep your eyes peeled. Now that was, of course, by rating at least, the worst best 11 we are going to come across. The other 5 best 11s, those are going to start some debates, and we'll start with the most diverse best 11 on this list, Africa. And we start in goal with the meme himself, Andre Onana, Manchester United's goalkeeper from Cameroon. At least sometimes. He gets kicked off the national team or gets sent home from the World Cup, but he's back again. Who knows? But he is from Africa, and he is the goalkeeper for the African best 11. Although that 153 rating, it's a little precarious right now. A few more games like that one in Turkey, we might be having a conversation. Up to the back line, we have the best center back from all of Africa, Joel Matip from Liverpool and Cameroon. The other center back is Kalidou Koulibaly from Senegal, just 2 rating points behind. Now at right back, it's probably obvious. Africa's best right back is Achraf Hakimi. His rating checks in at a massive 161, which makes him the 3rd best player from Africa. But at left back, Africa has its lowest rated player in the best 11, Reinildo from Mozambique. He plays with Atletico Madrid and checks in at a 147. Now there are other players from Africa that can kind of play left back, but you have to be able to naturally play the position in the game in order to count for this best 11. So remember that. In the midfield, there's an excellent holding midfield pairing, and it starts with Thomas Partey from Ghana. Right behind him is Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa from Cameroon, and also apparently a Scrabble board. Now in front of them, at least to my mind's eye anyways, is the best midfielder from Africa by rating, Yves Bissouma from Mali. I think he's the only guy on Tottenham not hurt right now, but of course he could have gotten hurt between me recording this and you seeing it, so knocking on wood. But Africa really brings the heat on the front three, and we start on the left wing where I've stashed Riyad Mahrez from Algeria. Now, Riyad Mahrez, of course, normally plays right wing, and he's been kicked over to left wing because the right wing is where Africa's best player resides, Mohamed Salah of Egypt, a 180 rating. Even though he's Africa's highest rated player, he didn't win African Player of the Year. That was reserved for Africa's best striker, Victor Osimhen from Nigeria. It may be a sign of how far the Super Eagles have fallen that he's the only Nigerian to make the best 11. The country with the most is actually Cameroon with 3. No other country had more than 1 player. So take a 3-second look at this team. Commit it to memory because you're gonna have to figure out if they can actually beat Asia. Now to actually add every country and search the database, I had to add a ridiculous number of teams for both Asia and Africa. So if you appreciate that kind of effort, be sure to subscribe to my OnlyFans. Just kidding. I don't have one. Why did you get excited? Now, Asia is actually a lot less all over the place in terms of nationality compared to Africa, but we start with the worst position in the Asian continent, which is goalkeeper, occupied by Matthew Ryan at a paltry rating of just 139. He is Australia's goalkeeper, used to play in the Prem, maybe a familiar name. Defensively, we find Asia's second best player, the best center back, Kim Min-jae from Bayern in South Korea. Then it's a huge drop-off to Ko Itakura from Borussia Mönchengladbach. He is also the first of many from Japan. In fact, the rest of our defense is Japanese. The right back is Takehiro Tomoyasu from Arsenal, and the left back is Hiroki Ito from Stuttgart. In the midfield, we keep the Japan vibes rolling. The holding midfielder is Hidemasa Morita from Sporting. Then the more aggressive part of the midfield is Daichi Kamada and Takafusa Kubo. He can actually play a number 10 role, an attacking midfield role. And Japan actually has 8 straight players because the left wing is Kaoru Mitoma from Brighton. The player that finally breaks the streak for Japan is Son Heung-min, of course, the right wing and best player from Asia. He is one of just 2 South Korean representatives on the list, but they are the best 2 players from Asia. The striker is the only Iranian, Mehdi Taremi. He just happens to be the 3rd best player from Asia. And honestly, when you're looking at the ratings between Africa and Asia, Africa's comparing very favorably. We'll see how they stack up with the next continent. Sorry. And we start with the goalkeeper, which is still undoubtedly Keylor Navas. He still has a rating of 151 in the game, the Costa Rican legend. Moving up to defense, the top center back in the whole continent is Cesar Montes from Almeria. He is only a 141. Right behind him is the only Jamaican representative, Ethan Pennick from Brentford. He's a 139. And at right back, we have the worst position for the CONCACAF continent. That would be Serginho Dest from the United States of America. He's just a 133. He's fallen off pretty hard. At left back, though, is the best player from CONCACAF. That's Alphonso Davies, obviously. The Canadian. The midfield's a bit of a question mark, but Football Manager made it pretty decisive. Edson Alvarez, of course, from West Ham, but also Ache Hector Herrera, a Mexican pairing in holding midfield. And although this would never happen in real life because they definitely hate each other, their compadre in the midfield is American Weston McKennie. He is, yes, one of the 3 best midfielders from CONCACAF. I'm gonna get a headache. I keep doing that. On the left wing, it's the player tied for the 2nd best on the continent, Christian Pulisic from America. Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah, brother! On the right wing, Irving Lozano from Mexico, and the striker, Canada's Jonathan David. Even though he's been a little less productive recently, he's still the highest rated striker. And while CONCACAF and Asia look like they could go toe-to-toe and have a really good contest, Africa is still clear. But will they be clear of either of our last 2 continents? The only 2 continents that have ever won a World Cup. Yes, that's true. Nobody that ever sounds like me has ever won a World Cup. Was it something I said? And we'll kick things off in South America. You want more sick sound effects like that? Tune into the Twitch streams, bro. They go dumb crazy. And South America starts out really strong with the 3rd best player on the continent in goal, Ederson. Look, I know what you're gonna say. Maybe Allison's better than Ederson, but Football Manager and their huge scouting department, they love Ederson, and he's a 180. That's the same as Mo Salah. He's the 3rd best player from South America. On defense, the best center back from South America is Ronald Araujo, the Uruguayan who plays at Barcelona. His center back pairing in the Continental Best 11, Eder Militao from Brazil. But unbelievably, and much to my surprise making this video, the biggest weakness for South America is the fullbacks. There are really no good South American fullbacks relative to the talent of the rest of this best 11. The right back is Danilo. There are 39 players from South America in the Football Manager database that are better than Danilo, but he's the right back. And the left back is actually the weakest point in the entire team. It's Pervis Estupiñán from Brighton, the Ecuadorian. Now, he certainly has potential. He's up and coming, but it is a surprise he's already the best left back from South America. Now, in the midfield, South America returns to form. It starts at the holding midfield spot with Bruno Guimaraes from Brazil. He plays at Newcastle. Then as we progress up the midfield, you have Federico Valverde from Uruguay, and you have Neymar, of course, from Brazil. Even though he only has 1 knee, he is still in the team as an attacking midfielder. And that was the only way he could get into the team because the attacking trio for South America, chef's kiss. Well, at least 2 of the 3. The left wing is Vinicius Jr., the Brazilian wonder boy from Real Madrid. I think he's crossed the threshold from being like a wonder boy to just a superstar at this point, but you get the idea. The right wing is a little-known wonder kid named Lionel Messi, who's from Bolivia, I think. And then the striker, the man who couldn't find a goal unless he had a compass provided to him during the World Cup, but is actually a good player regardless, Lautaro Martinez from Argentina. Also a man that has the best defined eyebrows of anybody in the entire human race. It's a strong finish to the South American Best 11 despite their huge gaping hole at fullback, but does it match up with Europe's Best 11? And I'm gonna lay it down for you. It's probably leaning Europe's way here. Now, whether you agree with this estimation, you let me know in the comments, but it starts with Thibaut Courtois in goal. The center backs are both better than the South American options at center back. It starts with the Dutchman Virgil van Dijk, who's followed close behind by Portugal's Ruben Dias. Now, the fullbacks are a bit of a blind spot for Europe as well. There just seems to be a lack of world-class fullbacks around these days, so they're more defensive options, but these are the best players in each position. Kyle Walker is the right back, the only guy from England in the team. The left back is the only guy from Austria, David Alaba. He still cracks the European Best 11. But the midfield is where Europe really starts to pull away. Their holding midfielder, Joshua Kimmich, the German. Obviously, he could have played like 6 different positions on this team. I'm just stashing him at holding midfield. The rest of the midfield actually comes from the same club. It's Rodri, the Spaniard, and Kevin De Bruyne, the Belgian, who is the best player from Europe. And actually, in Football Manager, the highest rated player in the world. But it's not like Europe is missing an attack. Their left wing is Kylian Mbappe, the Frenchman. He's also amazingly the only guy from France to make the team, because the right wing is Bernardo Silva, yet another entrant from Manchester City in Portugal. And then the striker is, of course, the only Norwegian in the team, Erling Haaland, also from Manchester City. That's one club with 6 of the 11 European Best 11 playing for it. That's insane. While Belgium and Portugal were the only countries to get more than 1 player into the overall Best 11. And after spending hours and hours combing through this data, I've got to say the winner is Europe. Fire the cannons. But the biggest thing to celebrate, CONCACAF is not the worst. CONCACAF could probably beat Oceania. And as a CONCACAF man myself, that means it's time to dance and celebrate. If you want to keep watching videos, check out this one. We went to the Faroe Islands. They made the European group stage. It was sick. We had a good time. Ate some fermented sheep. It was a little weird, but it was kind of good. Kind of enjoyed it. CONCACAF, baby. Let's go.